Welcome back to Introduction to Engineering Design. This is Module 8.1, and we're still making our button maker. What we're working on is the Subassembly D. And when I left off for time, we had made about half of that subassembly. So let's take a quick look at what we're making again. In our Word document, we've basically constructed the top portion, the upper die center support. We've put the spring on, the rod that goes down the middle. We have also put on the pressure plate here, the upper die pressure ring, along with the upper die outer ring. The last thing we have to do is to put in part number 9 and 10 here, item 9 and 10, which is 409 and 410. Upper die center, and then also the socket head screw that holds that in. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm right where I left off. So I'm going to go ahead and get out of my mates, and I want to insert a component, and I'm going to insert part number 409 and 410. So there we have those two. You can kind of see that what I have to do is flip this part around, and I will do that to insert that into the die assembly. So let me get a better view on that. So this part is upside down. So let's go ahead and start the mate process. So you may think that this part mates firmly to the bottom here. You'd be right to think that. It does approximately mate in there. This hole right here holds that screw. So let's go ahead and connect these two holes concentrically, and I'm going to flip it. That gets my alignment proper. Now it doesn't go flush against the top here. There's a little bit of play in that assembly. So let me simulate that play by zooming in here. If I can offset this enough so that I can see down in that hole. That's what I'm trying to do. There we go. And I'm going to pick this bottom ring in that hole. And the head of the bolt right here can't go past that bottom ring. So we'll go ahead and make that coincident. So now you'll see this thing's flopping around up here. The next thing I want to do is I want to make the center shafts coincident. So, and I probably did this a little out of order. Might have been easier to do the shaft first, but I'm going to go ahead and line up these two center shafts here. Yeah, I got that a little out of order, so I'm probably going to end up starting over here. Oh, you know what, it'll be okay. Here's what I'm going to do. I'll use the outside ring, make it concentric with the outside ring. That essentially does the same thing. So now what I have put together is I have my button maker assembly put together, and you can see that this bottom piece, if you actually look here, it's pretty close to flush in the model. This piece floats ever so slightly. So what I'm going to go ahead and do, and I actually put that together wrong, so let me undo my mates here. I just backed up. So let me undo my mates here. Let me fix this once again. So I'm going to go concentric. Mate that about the die. Flip the orientation so the face is up. Now what I'm going to do is go ahead and mate this piece right here. Well, we're just going to put it together. It's not really the way it works. I'm going to mate this edge right there. Now this moves up and down. Really it floats just a little bit in there, but we'll simulate that floating here in just a second. I'm going to lock that in rotation just for simplicity's sake. And now I'll put the bolt concentrically into the hole, flip the orientation, accept that, and now we'll put the bolt head in. Now to simulate the movement on the part, what I'm really going to do here is I'm going to just give it tiny little bit of flex right here, because that's what it has. So I'm going to do a range limit, a range mate between these two surfaces. Select my distance, go to advanced, make a minimum of 0, and I'll make a maximum of about 0.1. And accept that mate. So now what you see is I've got this thing flexes up and down just a little bit and then moves like that. And that's really what it does. What it's doing though is this inside die floats around a little bit more, but that's a little too complex for you to model. So there you have it. That is Subassembly D. That should be done. Let's go ahead and save that. And thanks for watching.